Do you need help with your picks for round 15? Stay tuned for my insights. Welcome back to Skinnybru Rugby. Here you're gonna get some tips on who's going to win this weekend in Super Rugby. Let's get straight into it. The first game, the Chiefs versus the Reds. Both teams, they really need to win this one to keep their chances alive in the competition. The Chiefs have suffered a massive list of injuries. Big guys gone like Retallick and McKenzie, and the list goes on. So they will struggle a bit, but this whole season their younger guys have been getting better. So where they struggled just when the guys got injured, they are stepping up and they are doing better than you would expect from them. Guys that do stand out from them, who are putting up their hands to play their best rugby they can: Ardron, Boshia, Weber and Nankiville. Those are names that are really standing out in this season for the Chiefs. As for the Reds, they've only won 5 out of 12 for this whole season and only 2 out of 6 away, and those 2 games are against the Sunwolves and the Sharks. The pack is strong with Murphy, Tupou, Rodda, Salakaya Lotto and a new guy that stood out last week, Blythe. He had a very good game. They are just very strong up front, and guys like Karevi at the back is a danger man for them. History is actually better for the Reds in Hamilton. They usually win against the Chiefs in Hamilton. Guys like Kane for the Chiefs, he's going to be very influential. He came back last week from his neck injury. The Blues are playing the Crusaders, so the chances are big that the Crusaders are going to beat the Blues in that one. So the Chiefs can go over the Blues in the New Zealand log if they wanted to. For me, the Chiefs could win by 8. Then we have the Brumbies versus the Bulls. The two teams' seasons, 6 out of 12 for the Brumbies and 7 out of 12 for the Bulls, and both teams really need to win this one. It's 2 conference leaders going up against each other, and both teams aren't very safe at the top of their conferences, so they will need to try and win this game if they want to get a little bit of space between them and the team below them. The Brumbies, they are 1 point ahead of the Rebels, and they really need to win this one because the Rebels are playing the Sunwolves, so the chances are big that the Rebels will come away with a victory there. The Bulls, they rarely win 2 games in a row this season. If you look at their history, they've had an up and down season completely this year, and they suffered a massive blow with Pollard being injured and came home to South Africa. He will be injured for the next 3 weeks at least. A guy Libok is coming in for him. I haven't been that impressed from him. He's not that consistent. He does give silly kicks downfield that just gives the opposition back 3 chance to run with the ball. Like I said, the Bulls are in top of the South African conference, but the Jaguars also has 32 points. I covered a little bit on what the Bulls will have to do in another video that I posted. I'll link it up here. I basically predicted who will win the South African conference. That is very close. The Bulls need all the wins they can because they're going to the Blues next week, and then I think it's the Highlanders if I am not mistaken. The Bulls' last time they won in Canberra is 2007. For the Brumbies, guys that have been standing out: Falau, Fahinga, Arnold, Samu and Spate. They've been good in recent weeks, and you can expect more of the same for them this week. The Brumbies, they have won 4 of their last 5 games, and their home record is 5 from 6. For me, the Brumbies will win this one by 10. Then we head over to the Sunwolves versus the Rebels. The Sunwolves, their season is already gone. Basically, they're just gonna try and play for some pride, but they haven't been so great the last few weeks. Guys like Parker, Warren Wasayoko, Masirewa, Van der Heever, those guys played really well beginning of the season, but at the moment they are just other guys filling the squad. They're not playing that well, but hopefully they do step up a little bit in this last few weeks. The home record for the Sunwolves is very, very bad. They have 0 from 6 at home for the season. The Rebels, they've won all 4 of the games in history these two teams played, including 2 games in Japan. Then the season for the Rebels, 6 out of 12. They've won 1 in the last 5 games, and their away record 2 out of 6. The Rebels, they are already very dangerous. Guys like Genia, Cooper, Maddox, etc. is very dangerous in that backline. And now they also got Tumua in, who came last week or the week before to the squad. So they will be looking to utilize him in that squad. To me, I don't see the Sunwolves putting up a massive fight. I think the Rebels will win by 12. Then it's the Blues who travel over to the Crusaders, who are angry after drawing their second game in 3 weeks. The Crusaders and the Blues, their seasons 9 out of 13 for the Crusaders, where the Blues have had 5 out of 12. The Crusaders have only had 1 loss in the whole season, but like I said, 2 draws in the last 3 weeks. They will be angry and want to get a win in this one. The Blues, they will be coming off a high after beating the Chiefs last week. Guys that stood out, Clark, Robinson, Tuungafasi, Nonu as always. They are in great form, and they'll be looking at them to bring the game again to the Crusaders. The away record for the Blues, 0 out of 5 away. So this is going to be a very difficult one for them if they want to go to Christchurch and actually beat the Crusaders there. They lost to the Crusaders by 2 points in February, and they really put up a really good game. The Crusaders had to travel back from South Africa to New Zealand. Will they be a bit fatigued? I don't think so. They are a very fit team. Then there's a bit of controversy surrounding Bridge and Mahunga, of stuff that happened in Cape Town. Will there be a bit of effects from that? Will that affect their game? We'll have to see. The last time the Blues won in Christchurch is 2004. So it's a lot of years in between their wins. The last 10 games between the sides, 9 for the Crusaders and 1 for the Blues. So I think the Crusaders will win this one by 26 points. Then we travel over to Sydney for the Waratahs versus the Jaguares. The seasons for the two teams, 5 out of 12 for the Waratahs and 7 out of 12 for the Jaguares. So the Jaguares has the edge there. The Jaguares, they've won 5 out of 6 of their last few games, where the Waratahs, they should be afraid. They've only won 3 out of their last 9 games. Their home record, 3 out of 6, so not that great. But the Jaguares, same record away, 3 out of 6 away. The Jaguares will come off a high after beating the Hurricanes last week, and they are in a prime spot to take over the first spot in the conference if the Brumbies do beat them. The Waratahs, they've had no comprehensive victories this whole season. Usually they just wait for a slip up from the other team and they score 2 or 3 points to win the game there. The Jaguares are on a great run. Creevy, Miotti, Cancellieri, Matera, they are in great form and will try to build on that. Can the Waratahs cling on again for a victory here? I think that it favors the Jaguares a little bit more, and I think they'll win by 7. Then over in Cape Town, the Stormers versus the Highlanders. Both teams need to win this one if they want to keep their seasons alive. The Stormers, they are at the bottom of the South African pool, where the Highlanders, they will want to get a little bit of a breathing room between them and between the Blues and the Chiefs. The Stormers, they've not had the best season, but they are back in Newlands, where they are a different team. The record in the last 5 games for the Highlanders is not too bad, but the last time they've won at Newlands is back in 2006. The away record for the Highlanders, 2 out of 7, which isn't very promising for them in this next game. The locks have been excellent for the Highlanders. Josh Ioane just as great, and they could put up a fight if they wanted to. The Stormers, they are on a high after drawing against the Crusaders last week. They had incredible scramble defense and their lineouts were excellent. I think the record was 17 out of 17 when Mbonambi was still on the field. For me, this one, the Stormers by 6. The next game, the Sharks versus the Lions. It's going to be a very important clash in the South African Conference. Whoever wins this is favourites to get into a qualifying spot for the playoffs. The season records for the two teams, 5 out of 12 for the Sharks and 7 out of 12 for the Lions. Guys like Marks and Kwagga Smith for the Lions were key in this last few games, and that's why they have been playing a little bit better. Diantje, he also looks like he found a little bit of form. He is finding his feet in this season after not having the best of starts to the season. The Sharks won their last 2 games between the Sharks and the Lions. One of those games, 2019, the start of this year, against the Lions in Johannesburg. Big injuries for the Sharks. Akker van der Merwe and Beast isn't playing this weekend, so that's going to be a difficult one for them. The Lions are 1 point ahead of the Sharks in the log, so they will really need to get that victory, otherwise they will drop down. This is going to be a close game, but I think the Sharks will win by 2. If you liked the video, please slap a like on it and consider subscribing to the channel. Join the Superbru pools in the description below and like the Facebook page, which you'll find there as well. Check out the other videos like who will win the South African Conference or the fantasy team video for this week on my left. Cheers.